Welcome back to the Naughty by Novel podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into Iron Flame, the sequel to Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And you guys sent in some excerpts, really focusing on the relationship between Violet and Xaden and how it compares to Fourth Wing. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely be getting into all the steamy details of how their relationship has progressed in this book.
What's so fascinating is how Yaros takes that foundation of the sort of forbidden romance from Fourth Wing and just turns up the heat in this one. Like in Fourth Wing, you see all that longing, the stolen glances, the slow burn as they navigate, this dangerous world of dragon riders. But now that their relationship's out in the open in Iron Flame, let me tell you, the steamy scenes are definitely hotter and there's just so much more at stake.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Iron Flame picks up right where Fourth Wing left us. We see Violet and Zadie grappling with the fallout of his betrayal, their family's complicated history, and then this looming threat of the Venin.
Right. And the Veneen are like a brilliant addition to this world. She takes the stakes to a whole new level. Because in Fourth Wing, the danger was mostly from rival nations and like the cutthroat competition at the Dragon Rider Academy. But now with the Veneen, it's a fight for survival against this terrifying enemy that most people don't even believe exists.
And that secrecy adds this layer of suspense to everything. I mean, Violet's trying to train, navigate this intense relationship, and all the while, she's uncovering this conspiracy within Bezgath, the Dragon Rider Academy.
Exactly. She's having to question who she can trust. When leadership at Bezgath, including her own mother, is actively deceiving her. And remember, in Fourth Wing, Violet was kind of thrown into this world. She was bookish, hesitant, just trying to survive. Now in Iron Flame, she's defying authority and uncovering these dangerous secrets.
And she's doing it all while her dragon Andarna is stuck in this extended dreamless sleep. So she's literally fighting battles on multiple fronts, emotionally and physically.
Absolutely, and that's what makes her character development so compelling. She's more than just a writer now. She's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, there's this one scene with this new antagonist, Vice Commandant Varish, corners Violet and says, "You'll both be indispensable once you come to heal." You can just feel the menace radiating off the page. He wants to control her, but she refuses to be broken.
And speaking of breaking, there are definitely some scenes between Violet and Xaden that could break the internet.
I knew you'd get to the steamy stuff.
Well, it's kind of our thing here at Naughty by Novel. But seriously, the tension between Violet and Xaden is palpable throughout the book. And it's not just physical. I mean, they're both dealing with so much baggage from their pasts.
Yeah.
And yet, they find these moments of intense connection. That scene in Xaden's family castle with the tapestries. Well, let's just say it's a scene you won't forget.
Right. And it's not just gratuitous either. It's part of their journey towards trust and vulnerability. Like in Fourth Wing, we saw that initial spark. But now they're really exploring what it means to be together, to rely on each other, even when the world seems like it's falling apart.
And the world building in Iron Flame?
Yeah.
Amazing. It feels like the Empyrean universe has expanded tenfold, with new locations, creatures, and especially the way Yarros dives deeper into the history of the wards, those magical barriers that protect Navarre.
Yeah, it's brilliant how she integrates that with the plot. We're learning about ancient rituals, lost languages, and the sacrifices that were made to create these wards, all while Violet is racing against time to figure out how to restore them before the Venin break through.
And there's this one line that keeps popping up. Secrets die with the people who keep them. Talk about creepy.
It's chilling, right? And it just highlights the danger that Violet is in. She's getting closer to the truth. But the people who want to keep those secrets buried are willing to do whatever it takes to silence her.
So let's talk about a few key scenes that really showcase how different Iron Flame is from Fourth Wing. Early on, Violet witnesses the death of a fellow rider during conscription day. And it's brutal and unexpected. And it just sets the tone for the rest of the book. You realize right away that no one is safe, not even within the walls of Bastia.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast to the relative safety of the Academy in Fourth Wing. It makes you realize that the stakes are higher now, the danger is more immediate, and Violet is really in over her head.
Totally. And then we have the introduction of Eric, this prince from Navarre who's shrouded in mystery. He seems to know more about the Venin and the swords than he lets on. Yeah. And he becomes a key ally for Violet.
Right, and he kind of adds this layer of political intrigue to the story. It makes you question his motives even as he's helping her. Is he truly on her side? Or does he have his own agenda? It's a question that keeps you guessing.
And let's not forget about the sparks between him and Violet.
Okay, there you go again with the romance.
I can't help it. It's like a slow burn within a slow burn. But seriously, there's this undeniable chemistry between Violet and Eric. That adds another layer of complexity to her already complicated relationship with Saizen.
I think what's interesting is how Violet handles the situation. She's not some naive girl caught in a love triangle. She's mature, she's confident, and she's not afraid to address the tension head on.
Absolutely. And that's a huge difference from Fourth Wing. She's not letting her emotions control her. She's taking charge of her own destiny.
Exactly. She's not the same girl who walked into Beshieth. Terrified and unsure of herself, she'd been forged in fire, both literally and figuratively.
Okay, so we've got conspiracy, forbidden romance, a dash of political intrigue. What else could Iron Flame possibly throw at us?
Well, how about a rider's survival course? That makes the one in Fourth Wing look like a walk in the park.
Oh yeah, this time it's not just about physical endurance. It's about psychological warfare.
Exactly. We see the riders subjected to interrogation tactics, sensory deprivation, and these just brutal tests designed to break their spirits and push them to their absolute limits.
There's this one scene where they drug Violet and her squad to block their signets, which are the magical bonds they have with their dragons. They're completely cut off from their power and their connection to the very creatures that define them as riders. It's intense.
And it speaks to this underlying theme of control and manipulation that runs throughout the book. These riders are being trained to be weapons, but at what cost? What happens when their minds and their spirits are broken in the process? It's a dark and disturbing question that Yaros explores really effectively in Iron Flame.
And it's a reminder that the line between good and evil can be incredibly blurry, especially when those in power are willing to do whatever it takes to maintain control. Remember that phrase, secrets die with the people who keep them. It takes on a whole new meaning in this context.
Absolutely. But even in the face of such darkness, Violet finds a way to resist. She uses her wits, her courage, and even a little bit of help from Xaden to fight back against those who want to break her.
Speaking of Xaden, their relationship really gets put to the test in Iron Flame.
Oh, I think we have time for one more point before we move on to part 2.
Okay, tease, you're killing me. What happens next?
Well, let's just say that a certain someone from Xaden's past makes a reappearance, and it throws a major wrench into his relationship with Violet. So remember how Violet and her friends managed to steal those ancient journals from the Bastieth archives?
Oh yeah, those ones that might hold the key to understanding the wards and how to defeat the Venom.
Right.
That was a wild ride. They basically committed treason to get their hands on those books. And they had to rely on Prince Eric, the guy with his own mysterious agenda,
Yeah.
to access the vault where the journals were hidden.
Yeah, it was a risky move. But it paid off. They managed to snag 2 journals. One written by Warwick, who built the original wards, and one by Lyra, his partner.
Lyra's journal is especially intriguing because it seems like her contributions to the wards have been largely overlooked, which makes you wonder what secrets she might have uncovered. But just when you think they might have a moment to catch their breath and decipher these ancient texts, Violet gets captured.
By none other than Vice Commandant Varish, the embodiment of everything corrupt and power-hungry within Bastieth. He throws her in the Brig, a dungeon specifically designed to break even the strongest dragon riders. And he doesn't hold back. We're talking physical torture, psychological manipulation, and even a truth-sayer to try and force her to reveal what she knows about the wards and the growing rebellion.
It's gut-wrenching to read about what Violet endures. You really see her strength and resilience shine through, even in the face of unimaginable pain. She's come so far from the hesitant scribe we met in Fourth Wing. Now she's a warrior, both physically and mentally.
I think that's a key takeaway from Iron Flame. We see Violet embracing her power, not just as a dragon rider, but as a woman who refuses to be controlled or silenced. But just when you think it can't get any worse for her, Varish brings in Dane.
Her former fiancé.
Yeah.
The one who broke her heart and betrayed her trust in Fourth Wing. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Right. And Varys is clearly playing mind games, trying to exploit Violet's past trauma and manipulate Dane into turning against her. It's a high-stakes, emotionally charged scene that really keeps you on the edge of your seat.
But here's the twist. Dane ends up helping Violet escape. It seems like witnessing her strength and resilience, even in the face of such brutality, has awakened something in him.
Yeah. He's seen firsthand the corruption within Bastieth and the lengths to which those in power will go to maintain control. And let's be honest, there's probably still a part of him that cares for Violet, so with Dane's help. And a well-timed arrival from Xaden, Violet manages to escape the clutches of Varish.
And she doesn't leave empty-handed. Violet and Xaden end up killing Varish, which I have to say felt pretty satisfying after everything he put her through. But even with Varish out of the picture, the danger is far from over. Right after their daring escape, Violet's mom, General Sorengale, shows up, and she drops a major bombshell.
Yeah. She admits that She's known about the Venin all along, and she deliberately pushed Violet into the Rider's Quadrant, away from the front lines, to try and protect her from the truth.
Talk about a mother's love. It's a heartbreaking moment, because you see how much Lilith cares for her daughters. But it also raises so many questions. What else is she hiding? Can Violet ever truly trust her again? It adds a whole new layer of complexity to their already strained relationship.
It certainly does. And remember, Violet is still trying to decipher those ancient journals. So she's got these cryptic texts, a mother who's been lying to her, and the looming threat of the Venin, who are getting stronger by the day.
It's like one giant puzzle that they're desperately trying to solve before it's too late. And one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle is the Luminary.
Yes, the Luminary. Someone with a unique ability to intensify dragon fire, making it hot enough to smelt the special alloy, needed to repair the wards. And finding a Luminary isn't easy. It leads Violet and Xaden to Viscount Takaris, a powerful and enigmatic figure from a neighboring kingdom.
And Takaris is known for collecting rare and valuable things, which apparently includes people with unique abilities. It's a pretty shady operation. And it doesn't help that he has this not-so-friendly history with Xaden.
Right. It makes for a tense negotiation. Takaris isn't someone who gives anything away for free, in fact. He puts Violet through this brutal test, forcing her to use her lightning signet to fight a captive Venin.
Can you imagine? You're trying to negotiate for this crucial element to save your kingdom, and you're forced to fight this terrifying creature just to prove your worth.
It's a barbaric display, but it also showcases Violet's power and determination. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty, and Tekaris is clearly impressed. And oh, by the way, guess who else is hanging out with Tekaris?
Oh no, don't tell me. Katrina, Segden's ex.
The one and only. And let me tell you, the tension between her and Violet is thicker than dragon fire.
This is getting juicy. So we've got a power-hungry Viscount, a captive Venin, and an ex-girlfriend thrown into the mix. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, aside from the fact that the wards are literally crumbling around them, there's also a betrayal brewing that no one sees coming. Jack Barlow, the rider who was captured and tortured by the Venin in Fourth Wing, the one who seemed to be on the path to redemption.
Don't tell me he's the one who betrays them.
He is. He uses his knowledge of the wards to sabotage their defenses, leaving Bastiath vulnerable to attack. It's a shocking twist, especially considering he was supposedly on their side.
It's a reminder that even in a world of dragons and magic, sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones closest to you. And now they have to defend Bastiath. From a full-scale Venin and Wyvern assault, with weakened wards, talk about bad timing.
It's a desperate fight for survival. But in the midst of the chaos, something incredible happens, and Darna, Violet's dragon, awakens from her dreamless sleep. But she's not the same dragon who went to sleep. She's transformed, and her power is unlike anything they've seen before.
This is where things get really interesting. And Darna's transformation is a game changer, but it's also a mystery. What caused this change? What new abilities does she possess? And how will it impact the fight against the Venin?
Well, we have to move on to part 3 to really delve into those questions, but let me just say that Darna's awakening is just the tip of the iceberg. There are even bigger revelations to come. So it turns out that Darna's transformation is more significant than anyone could have imagined. Remember how we were talking about the need for a luminary to reignite the Wardstone?
Yeah, and how they went through all that trouble to get one from that creepy Viscount Takaris.
Right. Well, it turns out they didn't need a luminary after all, or at least not in the way they thought.
Wait, what? I'm confused. What do you mean?
And Darna, in her transformed state, is the key. It's revealed that she's not just any dragon. She's a 7th breed, one that was thought to be extinct. A breed known as a Shadowtail.
Okay, that's huge, but what does that have to do with the wards?
Well, according to those ancient journals, that Violet and her friends stole, the wards were originally powered by the combined might of all 7 dragon breeds. Each breed contributed a unique aspect of their fire, creating a powerful and balanced force field. But over time, the Shadowtails disappeared, and the wards weakened.
So Darna's fire is the missing piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. And not only that, her bond with Violet is deeper than anyone realized. It's this connection that allows Violet to channel Darna's fire and reignite the Wardstone.
So they finally figure out how to restore the wards. That's got to be a relief.
It is, but it comes at a heavy price. Violet's mother, General Sorengale, realizes that her own power, combined with Darna's fire, is the only way to fully restore the wards.
Oh no, don't tell.
She sacrifices herself to protect Violet and the rest of Navarre. It's a heartbreaking moment. But it also shows how much Lilith loved her daughters. She was willing to give everything to ensure their safety.
So the wards are restored. but at a huge personal cost. That's got to weigh heavily on Violet, especially considering all the secrets and lies that came before.
Absolutely. And then there's Azan. Remember that whole second signet mystery? The one he was hiding from Violet?
Yeah, the one that could get a writer killed if they weren't careful.
It turns out he's not just any kind of double-signeted writer. He's an intrinsic, a being with immense power that can easily be corrupted. And his second signet allows him to sense people's intentions, their true thoughts.
Oh, wow. That's got to be both a blessing and a curse. Imagine being bombarded with everyone's thoughts and feelings all the time.
Right. And it makes him incredibly vulnerable to manipulation, especially from those who want to use his power for their own gain.
So how does this all play out in the end? Does Azaddin succumb to his dark side?
Well, Iron Flame ends on a cliffhanger. We see Azaddin embracing his intrinsic power to help defeat the Venom. But it's clear that this power comes at a cost. He's changed. And not necessarily for the better.
So what does this mean for Violet and Azaddin? Can their love survive in the face of such darkness?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's one that Rebecca Yarros leaves us to ponder.
Well, it sounds like Iron Flame takes everything we loved about Fourth Wing and amps up the intensity, the romance, and the stakes. We see Violet come into her own as a powerful dragon rider. We get more steamy scenes than we can handle. And the world building is expanded in really fascinating ways.
Absolutely, but it also delves into some deeper themes. The corrupting nature of power, the weight of secrets, and the sacrifices we make for those we love.
That sounds like a must-read for any fantasy romance fan.
Definitely, and it leaves you desperate for the next book in the series. We need answers.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what Yarros has in store for us. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Iron Flame. And remember, if you want us to unpack your favorite book, just send us your excerpts and we'll dive deep. Until next time, keep it steamy and stay bookish.